Hello, so welcome to the next square of the 50 stitches crochet along, and this week we're making the uneven berry stitch. So it's a bobble type stitch and it makes these lovely little bobble berries, and it's just a really textured stitch. Very sweet looking. So how do we make it? Okay, so for this stitch we're going to use a 3.5mm hook, and we're going to start by chaining 31. And then in the third chain from your hook, you're going to make a single crochet and a single crochet all the way across the row. Remember that turning chain counts as your first stitch, so you'll have 30 stitches in total. Okay, so when we get to the end of that row, turn, chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch. Okay, and that slip stitch is our first stitch. And then we're going to make the uneven berry. So a berry stitch, yarn over, hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through the first loop, then yarn over into the same stitch, hook in, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through the first stitch. So now we have 5 loops on a hook, then yarn over and pull through all 5, chain 1, and that is your berry. So in the next stitch we're going to make a slip stitch. Okay, so for me the berries will pop out on the other side, on the wrong side, and that's where my texture is. And this is the pattern for the whole row. So I've done my slip stitch, and I'm going to do my next berry. Yarn over, into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. I've now got 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first loop only. So I still have 3 loops on my hook. Then yarn over into the same stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. So I've got 5 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through the first loop only. I still have 5 loops on my hook. Then yarn over and pull through all 5. Then chain 1. And the next stitch, I'm going to make a slip stitch. Keep your slip stitches loose, as we're going to be working into them in the next row. It's much easier if you keep the slip stitches loose. And then after our slip stitch we make another berry stitch. I'll just show you one more time. Yarn over, into the next stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first loop only. Yarn over into the same stitch, insert your hook and pull up a loop. 5 loops on your hook. Oops. Yarn over, pull through the first loop only, 5 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through all 5 and chain 1. Okay, so when making the berry you're going to pull through the first loop only twice, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. And then the next stitch, slip stitch, and try and keep that as loose as possible. So there's my berries on the wrong side, coming up nicely. So I'm going to carry on that to the rest of the row. So slip stitch, berry, slip stitch, berry. And I shall see you when I get to the end of the row. I've got my last berry stitch, and that leaves me with 2 stitches left. And in these last 2 stitches we're going to slip stitch. Now make sure you keep these loose. 1, and into that last one, just take that out. And My husband doesn't want to cooperate today. Come on, there we go. And loose. And then chain one and turn. Now in the first 2 stitches we're now going to single crochet, and this first one is the hardest one to get into. This is why you need to keep your slip stitches loose. There we go. And we're going to make a single crochet. Just pop the stitch marker in there. And then we're going to single crochet in the next slip stitch as well. Which is there. These can be a bit hard to see, so you might want to just pop some stitch markers in so you can find your stitches. There we go, 2. Now your berry stitches have 2 stitches in the top. We've got, let's pull that out, this one here and this one. You're going to make a slip stitch into, let me get my bearings, into this one. So this is where you started your berry, and this is the chain one after you finish the berry. Ignore the chain one and make a slip stitch into the left hand one. Okay, so into this one I'm going to slip stitch. And then into the slip stitch I'm going to single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to ignore this next stitch, and the stitch after that I'm going to slip stitch. And again, try and keep your slip stitches loose because you'll be crocheting into them to the next row. Then into the slip stitch we chain one. Sorry, single crochet. So we go like that across the row. Ignore this first stitch at the top of the berry, and then slip stitch into the second one, and then into the slip stitches make a single crochet. So I'm going to carry on like that across the row, and I'll see you when I get there. Okay, so I'm at the end of the row, and your last stitch is going to be a single crochet in the slip stitch you started with. So now we're going to turn, chain one, and in that first single crochet we're going to slip stitch. Okay. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch as well. So I just turn over. So that slip stitch is now at the top of the last berry stitch of the row below. So in the next stitch we're going to make a berry, and this should mean that our berries are nicely staggered, and that's why it's called the uneven berry stitch, because the rows are uneven. Chain one, and the next stitch we're going to make a slip stitch. Now let's do another berry while you're done. Chain one and slip stitch. I'll just turn over. There we go, and you can see my berries are starting to stagger. The one in this row is sitting in between the 2 in the row below. So if I just go back to the original square, so you see how they're all staggered. So there is a stitch called the even berry stitch, and that's where they're all in nice rows going straight as well. So you're either going to start each row with 2 slip stitches or 1 slip stitch for your berry rows, and the same with the rows in between. You either start with 2 single crochet or 1 single crochet, and you're going to repeat rows 2, 3, 4 and 5 to get this pattern. You're going to have 30 rows in total, and you're going to end on a berry row. So you'll have 15 berry rows and 15 single crochet rows. For the border, you're going to do a single crochet in each stitch across the top and bottom. For the sides, you're going to make 2 single crochet in the sides of the single crochet rows. You're not going to make any border stitches in the berry rows because they're starting with slip stitches. So both those stitches go into the single crochet row. Okay, and then add your extra stitch in the corners for the turn, and then that is the even berry stitch. So I hope you enjoy, and as always, if you have any questions, please do come to the Facebook group and come and show us your finished squares. So that's it for this week, and I shall see you next week for the next stitch. Bye for now.